does it mean to be the Anglican Church in a majority Muslim area, sharing Christian space with other ancient denominations in places of great human need and suffering? One answer is to be found in the Yemen, at the Ras Morbat Eye Clinic, an initiative of Christchurch Aden.
This clinic is for the poor people, the people who cannot go in to the private or even go into the government hospital because it's cheaper, and try to help poor people.
The clinic is staffed by British-trained Yemeni doctors and technicians, including women, in a country with 75% female illiteracy.
There is 2 doctors, and we have another 5 technicians, and we have a lab.
Every week sees a new crowd of potential patients at the outpatient clinic.
We have 3 days outpatient to see the patient and 2 days operation. On these 3 days, daily, it's coming between 40 to 60 patients.
Operations take place twice a week, often under very difficult circumstances.
We thanks more when there is electric, because the electric off for 3 hours, on for 3 hours. Sometimes if there is no fuel, there is off for 7 hours and just on for 1 hour. And the water into Wahi every 4 days, after every 4 days, there is 1 day there to fill the tanks and come in on the tap.
Patients like Mohammed and his family form strong bonds with the clinic and are prepared to defend it.
The people very happy and proud about that this clinic is there, because they know this clinic is the cheaper and helpful to helping people. And they are who help us in the work. The people around us, the neighbors, they come in for Al-Qaeda people. When they come in to attack, to burn the church, they come in to fight with the Al-Qaeda people to stop them.
Mansour is the clinic administrator and a committed Muslim. He sees no problem working with a Christian church.
There is some people, they thinking that Muslims and Christians, but we are, as a Muslim, the real Muslim who understand. We say we are same, we called Ahl al-Kitab.
As people of the book, faith breeds optimism for the future.
We hope we'll be settled and come in normal life like before, like in 2000, 2010, normal, all the foreigner can come in. See all different nationality coming to pray.
In the Yemen, the reputation of the Christians is very high. In Aden, we're seen to be caring and loving and providing and helping. And that's the very best sort of interfaith work, because at Christchurch Aden in the clinic, almost everybody who comes is a Muslim, and they all know that it's Christians doing good because they love God.
It's 12:30 on Monday, and Emmanuel comes to St. Mark's, Famagusta, on the chaplaincy bicycle for midday prayers. In this student chaplaincy, prayers are held every day, along with Bible readings and a cappella hymns.
Thou changest not, thy compassions they fail not.
For Chaplain Justin, this is a sponsored training post. Already a reader, he's working towards ordination. What has this job taught him?
Another exposure to another form of spirituality. The depth of spirituality here that the students have is wonderful, and that's been a real blessing for me, even in my ministry, let alone my training.
The East Mediterranean University is the biggest in Cyprus. It's north of the Green Line, a Christian chaplaincy in a Muslim setting. Students come here from all over the world. The regular congregation has members from Iran, Cameroon, Europe and Zimbabwe. Jesse is from Nigeria.
The student chaplaincy here opens his arms and says, "You're welcome, come in here and grow in the faith and learn more about the God you claim to believe than just being within the tag of a Christian." So this is what it means to me, that I can come in here anytime I'm welcomed and it's free for me. We have been made to serve others and not just waiting for people to serve us. So wherever I go, be it whatever church I choose to associate myself in, I'll be willing to serve others also wherever I'm being called on.
Justin will have only warm memories of his time here.
The prayer and the singing, but also the thankfulness. We started out by giving thanks for everything. There is no sense here that they are just grateful for every little thing that they have. They may not have much, but the very little they have, they are incredibly grateful for. And that's, I think, a lesson that I certainly need to take on board, and I think a few other people could learn as well.
Meet the man chosen from 25 nominees to be hailed by the Iraqi government as its Personality of the Year 2017. Father Faiz Jurjis, chaplain of St George Baghdad, has been recognised for his contribution to human rights and peace building.
We are very glad to receive this news, especially that this news, they show it in the TV, in the Iraqi TV, which is belong to the government, and all the Iraqi people, they watch this TV. We are very happy and we are very glad, and also most of the people, they congratulated him by sending card, and they send email for him, even the Muslims or Christian.
I'm fantastically pleased that Father Faiz is getting recognition from the Iraqi government, from the wider Iraqi community. He's wonderful at making contacts. He's wonderful at knowing the right thing to say and when to say it. And I think the churches, when they actually serve the people, irrespective of creed or background or religion or faith or politics, richly deserve to be rewarded. And I think Faiz's award is an award to the best of Christians in Iraq.
I'm happy because we do hard in Iraq, especially these days after Daesh. Always we need to show our job to the people, how we help them, how we do something good for them in the church name.
Meanwhile, work on the building which will transform the present kindergarten into the makings of a school has continued. When complete, it will add 300 new places to the 150 already taken at the kindergarten. One room, virtually complete, is the new sports hall, which was dedicated in memory of their son George by Bishop Michael at a private ceremony in January, attended by family members and celebrated by the children and staff. This celebration heralds a fitting memorial at St George's.
When through the woods and forest glades I wander.
Another St George's is one of the smallest in the diocese, and at 6,000 feet above sea level, this is definitely high church. It stands in lofty mountain grandeur in the Troodos Mountains of Cyprus. This year it's had an external facelift. The church's trust body, JMT, has taken responsibility for the building, and it now has an electricity supply, safe tiles, a waterproof roof, and most noticeably, a ramp to enable people with mobility problems to access the church for the first time. This attractive arts and crafts building holds services each Sunday in the summer, and this year has hosted a number of additional special services, including one for St George's Day and one to mark a visit from the Chaplain General to the forces. It's also been a venue for weddings, and all who come here express affection for this unique church. From one of the oldest churches in the diocese to our newest new build. When the building now taking shape at Musafa, Abu Dhabi, is complete, it will accommodate 5,000 worshippers at any one time. One room alone holds 1,000. It's expected that the congregation will be drawn largely from the 30,000 plus migrant workers housed at the huge camp opposite the church. There's a ministry to migrant workers throughout the Gulf. Ministers visit the camps and hold services there. But when it's possible, workers form part of local congregations. This year, St. Luke's Ras Al Khaimah held a special Christmas event for their predominantly African migrant worker members.
It's mostly Nigerian laborers, and we had about 60 come, and we had Holy Communion service, and we had traditional Nigerian drumming and singing, and we even had some dancing. And then afterward we had a dinner, and all of the men received Christmas gifts, blankets and toiletry kits. Our junior church provided the gifts for the workers, which I thought was a really nice gesture. They have very difficult lives, and I talked to them and they state explicitly that church and coming to church on Friday is a time when I feel peaceful and when I'm happy, because they work very hard and they have very difficult living and working conditions.
A camp of a different kind is the refugee camp at Kothinu in southern Cyprus. The Reverend Christine Goldsmith is a regular visitor and convener of a group of caring agencies there, aiming to make a difference.
The main difference is showing people we care. It's representing the church, that it doesn't matter whether we're Muslim, whether we're Buddhist, whether we're Christian, we all care for each other. This is God's creation, this is God's world, we're all created in His image, we should care for each other.
The camp houses some 300 people, including many children. Today they're waiting for a visit from Father Christmas, by any other name.
We've got around 75 children here at the moment from all different countries, and every year we actually ask all the Anglican churches within Cyprus to buy gifts for the children, and we get Father Christmas turn up and he distributes the gifts. Every child, whatever their nationality, whatever their race, they all know Father Christmas, Santa Claus, Papa Noel, and they all like getting given a gift.
The church understands them a lot, and the church wants to help them. And the church sees so many great things, and they can always come to the church if they need anything or if they feel some kind of way. The church will always be there to help them.
Conditions at the camp have been improving, and Christine's group is keen to see further development.
It comes down to challenging unjust structures in society. The management in the camp was abysmal, and we're still fighting for that, but now we've got a new team in from the EOSA and working with the Asylum Service. We're actually working in better partnership to try to improve the conditions here within the camp.
Once refugees are granted protection status, they leave the camp and rely on the welfare system in the various towns of Cyprus. Opposite St Helena's Church in Larnaca, the Oasis House caters for some of their needs.
So this morning we have our food and clothing distribution. So every Monday we bag up about 50 to 70 bags of fresh fruit, and about, again, 50 to 70 people come and we distribute that fruit to them.
This is not just a handout centre. The Garden Project represents thinking outside the welfare box.
Part of the idea is that it'll be a place where refugees can actually come and relax and be refreshed, and then part of it is a place where they can actually grow their own vegetables. English classes, which we do twice a week, we have nearly 45 to 50 people involved in that. We have a women's event once a week. We have about 15 to 20 women coming to that, and then a social cafe, which could vary anywhere between 20 to 30 people attending that. People have said it feels more like a home, like a place they can come and be refreshed. What an oasis truly is.
And what do the churches bring to the situation, apart from food, clothes, work and training?
My prayer is that the love and the light of Jesus will shine to all we meet today, whether they recognise that or not at this time.
This year has been quite a busy year in terms of our ministry project. What's given you particular pleasure about the year?
The sheer number of people who have discovered in themselves an ability to respond creatively, imaginatively to the call of God, to go deeper, to go broader, and to offer themselves for wider service to the church. There are readers emerging, and generally the number of exploring faith groups is really high.
I want to deepen my faith, apply to my personal life, and also to teaching my children explore the faith.
I think it's really interesting, and I think it's something which I need to really be a part of it. when I am attending church, I see a lot of things, the prayers, the worship order. Those things intrigue me as to how this has come to being, what theology is all about.
Do you think that this might lead to further kind of commitment or ministry of any sort?
Yep, yes. I've been part of the church in terms of the youth ministry for the last 2 years now. So how God takes me further as we grow up.
Scroll forward 2 years as new ministries are inaugurated. In December, St Paul's Cathedral in Nicosia was a setting for the licensing of 2 new readers from Ayia Napa and Prodromi in Cyprus.
Receive authority to exercise the office of reader in this diocese.
I'm very privileged, uncertain of my ability to be able to fulfill the mission that I've been given, but I'm going to have a damn good try.
Ken Wiseman, Mission to Seafarers Chaplain for the Cyprus ports, is also a reader. This has been a busy year in the chaplaincy.
Our basic prime aim is to be here for the seafarers. Those guys that are out there 24/7 on ship, they need to be able to come somewhere where they can get contact with their families, talk to their families. They bring a lot of other issues with them as well. You know, there's things where they're not happy with things that are happening on the ship, or they have medical problems, they need transporting.
In 2018, the mission will be moving to new, larger premises.
New premises are huge compared to what we have now. Once we move into there, we will have a proper chapel where we can hold proper services for the seafarers, which at the moment, it's mostly on-board services that we do. This will be the reception area, store, shop, and the basic general reception area. And then from here to the end will be the new chapel and quiet room.
The mission has also been extending its work for the first time in the Muslim north of the island at Famagusta.
We had great difficulty in convincing them that we weren't going to go there and convert everybody to Christianity. Once I'd overcome that boundary, we then were in a position where we were accepted, and in fact the north is being very, very helpful through our contacts and our work within Famagusta. And the mission has now been able to open a new centre in Turkey, which is the first one for many, many years.
New pastoral issues arise all the time in this unique but fulfilling ministry.
The biggest thing that's concerning at the moment are mental health issues for the seafarers. It's becoming a very large maritime concern, and only last week we had 3 guys that committed suicide by just jumping off the ships. It's all to do with body language, with the way they might isolate themselves from other people, and we've got to be able to identify this as chaplains, and in turn pass this on to our volunteers. And it's nice to know that the work that we're doing is so diversified amongst religions. Yes, we're an Anglican organisation, but a lot of my work is with Hindus, with Tamils, with Muslims. And some of the issues that I've had to deal with on those things have been so exciting, because you can see the Lord and God working within the work that we're doing through talking with these people.
This place of worship here in Abu Dhabi is dedicated to Mary, the mother of Jesus. So what is it? Is it an Anglican church? Is it perhaps a Roman Catholic cathedral? Well, actually, it's a mosque. A few doors away is St Andrew's Church. Chaplain Canon Andy Thompson was present at the renaming ceremony.
It was a great honour to be there, and I think it was a very powerful statement from the UAE. This is what defines our country. We are an Islamic nation, but we offer hospitality to people of all faiths.
This past year, Canon Andy has been something of a global ambassador for the UAE's policy on religious tolerance.
There was genuine surprise that, first of all, there's a church in the United Arab Emirates, and that the government here, as an Islamic nation, were really bending over backwards to say everybody is welcome to our country. It's a good message, and it's a message I wholly support, and it's a genuine message.
In 2016, the UAE introduced a Ministry of Tolerance.
So the UAE is intentionally and purposefully introducing the idea of tolerance as a prime value and a part of their Emirati identity. And they're doing that through education, they're doing that through interfaith events, they're doing that through things like naming the mosque, to say this is what defines us as a nation.
Canon Andy has made his own contribution to interfaith understanding with the publication of a book, Jesus of Arabia. It's been warmly received. The Minister of Tolerance has commended it.
It's been endorsed by a member of the ruling Islamic family, and that they want this message of a warm encounter between Christianity and Islam to be widely available to their own people, which recently was translated into Arabic. They want their own citizens to see how we can talk about one another in a way which is mutually respectful.
هل نبدأ حوارا بين المسلمين والمسيحيين عن يسوع المسيح؟
It's the first Christian book in a GCC nation that's been publicly endorsed for distribution and for sale openly across the shopping malls. Once you make it available in Arabic, it will go to a completely different audience.
من أهمها القرآن الكريم.
January 2018 saw a new initiative for the Gulf Churches Fellowship at a meeting of church leaders.
Publicly declaring and signing together in the presence of the Ministry of Tolerance that we as a church want to support them in the values of tolerance and religious freedom, and we're also calling as a church upon Muslim governments and upon our own communities to be more proactive in compassionate action.
Interfaith work isn't confined to church leaders' declarations. For decades, Christian Gulf residents have been a practical Christian presence in local Muslim communities. The Reverend John Lavelle is visiting one of them, former midwife Amal.
I look at people like Amal as the saints in the church. We often talk about interfaith dialogue, our relationship with Muslims, and Amal is one of the saints who has spent her whole life engaging in what we call a dialogue of love.
Hello, Habibti. How are you? I'm so happy to see you, Amal. How are you?
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
And so she comes to share the love of Christ by delivering babies, which especially in the past was such an important function here. In many ways, they're also the bridge builders who paved the way for our own churches being here in the Emirates and in many places throughout the Middle East.
At that time, I had a clinic, very busy clinic. I used to treat the people for every illness.
And was that here?
Yeah, in the tent. We had only the tent then.
The King of Love. We enjoyed talking. We have a lot of good chats together. And when I come, she likes to bring out her old Presbyterian hymn book. We sing a few hymns. I'm just so blessed that Amal is a part of our St. Luke's congregation. I encourage many of the ladies, especially those interested in interfaith dialogue, to come out and visit Amal and learn from her. And we hope that we'll also be willing, in a sense, to carry the torch.
This year, once again, we had a social forum in Cyprus, bringing together a wide variety of agencies and partners working alongside the churches. How important is that partnership?
Oh, I think it's absolutely crucial. The Anglican Church is by no means, of course, the largest church on the island of Cyprus. That is our elder sister in Christ, the Orthodox Church. But there are Maronites, there are Armenians, there are evangelical groupings and fellowships, and many more besides. But apart from them, there are lots of people of goodwill who simply want to show the best of humanity. And the more we can be in partnership and creative solidarity and common work with them, the better.
One of the organisations that has partnered with churches in Bahrain, Nicosia and Larnaca, among others, is the Freedom Dolls Initiative. They help sexually abused and especially trafficked women.
Whereas people used to be trafficked from the Far East, now they're more trafficked from Europe. into Cyprus, and then on to other countries. So it is quite a big problem.
Cyprus, by virtue of its location between Europe, Asia and Africa, is one place where this worldwide evil can be seen.
We came across a victim. She was 30 years old, a Cypriot lady. She had been trafficked by her father and her uncle into the Cypriot mafia. And she has informed us of many other children and adults within Cyprus that have been sold to the Cyprus mafia and being trafficked all over. I've also had two children that were rescued from a village in a city here in Cyprus, and it was the villagers. Yes, the mother and the brother were trafficking these two children, and it was the villagers that contacted us to help to get them out.
The women make the dolls. Is this just a fundraiser, or does it have a therapeutic function?
No woman is made to make a doll here at Freedom Dolls. If you would like to sew a doll, that's great. If you would like to learn how to sew a doll, that's great. I never tell the ladies how to make a doll. So they make the individual doll. Each one is different, no two are the same, and each one has a passport. Each girl makes the doll, and how she's feeling on that day is how that doll is made. I do have dolls that are crying, that are sad. I've had a doll with no face on it, and when I took the doll back to the lady who made it and said, but this hasn't got a face on it, she said, I don't feel anything, nothing.
How important is it to have the churches as partners?
They want to help, and they're willing to help, and on a long-term basis. And the support that I've had from the church, I cannot mention. The dolls, we've sold hundreds of dolls through the church. I can't emphasise enough, quite frankly. The help that we get is greatly needed.
The theme of Synod this year and the theme of this programme is doing God, doing good. How do you feel the diocese is doing in relation to that context?
I think we're well on the way. We who believe in God know that we believe in God, however imperfect our walk of faith, and we can't but try to do good to a world and a humanity that is God's creation.